The island of Bali lies in the middle of the Indonesian archipelago, roughly 90 miles by 60, and home to a mainly Hindu population. It's renowned for its beaches, culture, and the peaceful nature of its people. But on the 12th of October 2002, all this changed. 2 bombs ripped the heart from its tourist center, killing over 200 people and injuring many more. This is the story of that night and of the months that followed, of the Balinese fight to come to terms with this tragedy and their struggle to restore spiritual harmony to their island. It is the 12th of October 2003, a year after the explosions. A commemoration ceremony is being held in Kuta, at what has become known as Ground Zero. It is an opportunity to reflect on the tragedy, to try and make some sense out of the senseless, and bring closure to what has been an incredibly traumatic year.
Dan pada waktu itu saya tidak nangis ya, cuman merasa hampa, pikiran kita hampa, tercengang gitu. Kok ada kejadian seperti ini. Dan saya sampai sekarang masih bisa membayangkan wajah-wajah daripada korban.
Help me, come on. Oh, bring to hospital, quick. Aduh, saya melihat satu tragedi yang luar biasa.
Amongst the wreckage of that night were found many personal belongings, now being returned to their owners' loved ones.
Could I ask the family of Jody Oshie? We have a wallet of Jody. Are you the mother? Oh, yes.
A year on, but the pain of that night is still fresh in many minds.
I'm sorry for him. I'm sorry to the victim, Australian people. I'm sorry.
To understand why, we have to go back 1 year. At around 11 p.m. on the 12th of October 2002, 2 bombs exploded in Jalan Legian, Kuta's main thoroughfare, in an area packed with both tourists and locals. The first, a small incendiary device, detonated in Paddy's bar, driving its terrified occupants into the path of a second, far more powerful explosion opposite, from a car bomb left outside the popular Sari nightclub.
Ya, begini, masalah tenaga saya tidak tahu persis dan powernya menurut perkiraan kita sangat-sangat besar. Karena apa? Kita lihat semua radius 200 meter itu 200 sampai 300 meter itu kaca masih bisa pecah. Kemudian puing mobil yang diberikan yang diletakkan di dalam mobil untuk bom itu puing-puingnya sangat kecil. Jadi puing kayak menjadi puing-puing baja tuh, Anda bayangkan baja yang begitu keras bisa jadi puing-puing.
Jadi saya lari menuju Sari Club, nggak tahu bahwa di sana ada bom yang lebih besar. Jadi kira-kira 10 meter sebelum Sari Club, bomnya meledak. Saya nggak tahu meledaknya di mana, tapi saya tahu bahwa persis di depan saya. Mana yang saya tahu cuma lidah api aja di depan saya. Waktu lari menuju kan ada dorongan hantam saya, langsung saya jatuhnya di jalan, tapi kepala saya taruh di trotoar jalan. Jadi saya cuma sebut Tuhan saya bilang Yesus tolong itu aja.
Orang pada berhamburan semua itu kan orang pada kabur semua, sedangkan mau juga ada percikan api juga menyala, orang pada keluar semua, teriak histeris. Sari Club sudah dahsyat. Itu bom yang paling keras tuh udah kita bayangkan.
A crater 10 feet wide and 4 feet deep lay at what had been the Sari Club's main entrance, testament to the sheer ferocity of this explosion. A huge fireball, visible 20 miles away, melted everything in its path. Cars were incinerated, iron bent and twisted, and windows blown in. The Kuta community rallied round to help. Those first at the site faced scenes of unbelievable carnage and horror.
Dadak demikian sehingga pemadam kebakaran pun pada saat kami tiba belum ada. Jadi api masih berkobar dan masih banyak yang bergelimpangan di jalan berteriak histeris.
Orang yang terguling-guling di jalan ya, sambil dia menahan rasa sakit yang luar biasa karena dia kena panas yang begitu keras ya.
Yang ke TKP dan kaki saya tetap tersentuh potongan kaki. Saya sempat dapat satu kepala, sempat satu yang saya jinjing, pakai bawa apa namanya itu ember yang terus saya masukkan ke sana.
Balinese society is still heavily based upon the old village system. Shortly after the explosions, the kulkul, an old-fashioned wooden alarm bell, was rung, summoning people to help from the surrounding area. Ordinary people, mostly untrained, were thus thrust into the most appalling of circumstances.
Dan yang paling mengerikan, tumpukan mayat-mayat di pusat kegiatan Sari Club ini ya, tidak bisa kita bayangkan bagaimana mereka itu menderitanya ya saat terpanggang dalam api ini, betul-betul sangat mengerikan sekali.
Saya melihat seperti itu, saya membayangkan bagaimana kalau mereka itu adalah orang tua saya, bagaimana kalau mereka itu adalah keluarga saya.
The wounded were rushed to nearby hospitals. They arrived in ambulances, taxis, and on the back of motorbikes. At Sangla Hospital, a small army of Indonesian and foreign volunteers turned up to help. They stayed with the victims, giving physical and emotional support. They manned phone hotlines, translated, and where qualified, even operated on patients.
Nobody even had the slightest thought of who you are and where you come from. Nobody. And the way they all worked together, no communication breakdown, different languages, it didn't mean a thing. It was amazing.
The hospital morgue had refrigeration units for just 4 corpses. So bodies had to be laid out on the ground under plastic sheeting. Many were so badly burned that identification was only possible through DNA fingerprinting.
There were bodies all over the place, not all of them in body bags. There were boards with lists of body parts. The area had not been screened off properly. There were people everywhere, police, foreigners, doctors, just a bewildering mess.
The bodies had to be kept cold to prevent them decomposing. For a whole month, hundreds of volunteers, amongst them groups of Balinese school kids, poured ice over the bodies, night and day, to stop them rotting. For all involved in that night and its aftermath, it was a courageous and harrowing achievement. As well as tourists, the blast took a high toll of Balinese and Indonesian lives. The bartenders, waitresses, cigarette sellers, and those who had just come in to dance. At the nearby Aloha surf shop, Johan Duka, a security guard, was just closing up for the night.
Ada teman saya yang panggil dari luar. Teman saya dulu security-nya di situ juga. Panggil duduknya di luar. Gitu. Tapi baru sebentar aja duduk di luar, di depan toko. Kira-kira 3 menit begitu, tiba-tiba ledakan di pedis pub. Teman saya lari menuju ke arah Bonti. Sedangkan saya waktu itu spontan kaget, ingat kakaknya yang kerja di Sari Club sebagai security juga. Langsung saya lari menuju Sari Club gitu. Jadi saya lari menuju Sari Club, nggak tahu bahwa di sana ada bom yang lebih besar gitu. Jadi keadaan kakak saya sampai sekarang juga belum tahu. Tapi kemarin DNA-nya udah ditemukan, cuma bagian pantatnya aja.
Over the next few days, the full horror of the event started to sink in. What seemed hardest to understand was how such a thing could happen here, in Bali, on Paradise Island.
When the bomb happened, we were so shocked, like Balinese people, we were so shocked because we never think these kind of things could happen in Bali.
Everybody's still trauma, like can't sleep well, and still remember all the time that, like dead people everywhere, and that is all like people screaming, and then people, it's hard to say to me. Like,
we never think it could happen here. Never think.
Throughout this whole period, it was amazing how little hatred was expressed. There were no angry demonstrations, no looting of shops, no scapegoating of other faiths. Instead, people showed their grief through prayer, wreaths, and written thoughts. Bali Cinta Damai. Bali loves peace. The Balinese are famed for their tolerance towards outsiders. Religions are said to be like rivers that all flow from the same mountain to the same sea, although through different beds. All faiths are recognized as having an equal claim on the same unknowable truth. The site is left untouched. It will remain so for many weeks to come, for the forensic teams to do their work, and also out of respect to the dead. Until buried, their spirits are said to hover above the area. It was not long before many of those responsible for the bombings were caught, something that the islanders put down as much to the power of prayer and the will of God as to the efforts of the police. Testifying at his trial for the first time, Amrozi, one of the principal terrorists, talked of his reasons for the bombings.
Kalau untuk mengusir mereka dari Indonesia, itu memang tidak mungkin dengan bahasa diplomasi. Bahasa mereka itu yang jelas itu bahasanya itu hanya kekerasan. Makanya di samping saya mampu untuk membuat kekerasan itu, dan itu memang bahasanya.
Jadi acara yang saudara maksud yaitu acara untuk membuat kekerasan.
Iya.
Kekerasan yang dimaksud kekerasan apa?
Ya termasuk pengeboman.
Dan saya berpikir kenapa mereka tega sekali melakukan seperti itu? Bukankah yang menjadi korban adalah masyarakat sipil yang tidak salah, yang tidak mengerti akan politik, yang tidak akan mengerti tentang intrik-intrik segala macam ya. Mereka adalah turis yang datang ke Bali untuk holiday, dan sebahagian lagi yang mati di sana adalah masyarakat yang bekerja hanya untuk sesuap nasi dan sekolah anak-anak mereka.
It is 2 weeks after the blast. A procession is taking place on Kuta beach. All Bali's religions are taking part to show their united opposition to the terrorist threat. A white cloth known as a lansingan is carried over the heads of the participants and symbolizes unity within the group.
We pray to God, maybe He'll protect Bali.
Yeah. Do you think that will work? Do you think God will listen?
Yeah, because prayer, that's very important, you know. By praying, so God will hear. Just like a baby cry, you know, mother will hear the cry.
Bali contains myriad ethnic groups and faiths. When the bombs went off, many expected the islanders to be at each other's throats. Yet a dignified calm prevailed, and no violence was unleashed.
Kami di sini hidup berdampingan dari dulu, mungkin dari kami belum lahir sudah demikian. Maka dari itu pas waktu kejadian itu kami di sini saling menghormati. Itulah.
The Balinese were shocked, yet they prayed. They didn't turn to violence.
There was no anger. There was the acceptance and the immediate attempt to rectify the wrong. And with a smile on their face, there was nothing that changed their demeanor.
This spirit of calm and reflection kept the lid on a dangerous situation. All communities felt threatened by the act, and its horror brought them all closer together.
Bahwa mereka yang tinggal di Bali ini, baik dari komunitas Hindu, komunitas Katolik, komunitas Buddha, Kristen, Muslim, Islam, itu mereka sepakat untuk membentuk satu kerjasama yang baik, ya. Bagaimana supaya kita tidak dihancurkan oleh terorisme.
Like Bali people are our family, you know. So we stick together, we work together, and then people think that they're like brotherhood, you know.
Religious tolerance is also deeply rooted in local philosophy.
Ada konsep tatwamasi. Konsep tatwamasi ini artinya saya adalah kamu, kamu adalah saya. Nah, di sini kalau kita jabarkan lebih luas, mengandung pengertian penderitaanmu adalah penderitaanku juga, bahagiamu adalah bahagiaku juga. Nah, di sini merasa berkewajiban orang Bali itu untuk menghormati, saling menghormati dalam kehidupannya, baik untuk sesama manusia maupun dengan makhluk lain.
At the conclusion of the parade, the lansingan is taken into the sea in a symbolic act of cleansing. For the Balinese, the sea is a place of exceptional purity. It is hoped that some of the evil the bombs have brought can be washed away in its currents. Bali, however, was to face further disaster from an unexpected quarter. Many on the island talk of a second bomb, the bomb of unemployment. After the explosions, tourist numbers dropped to a fraction of normal capacity. With the majority of the islanders making a living from the trade, Bali faces an uncertain future. It is easy to forget that despite its glamorous image, Bali is still part of the developing world. Behind the palm trees and the lights, many are still struggling with third world levels of poverty. It is these people who have been hit hardest by the economic crisis. Wayan Sami lives in a small village near the island's centre. been a woodcarver for 30 years now, selling his work on the streets to passing tourists or taking commissions from foreign companies. Since the bomb, his business has been in severe decline.
Kadang-kadang yang dulu bagus, kalau sekarang tidak ada apa. Krisis ini ya, sebelum bom bagus.
Sebat tiang, sebat sing cucu liu, panak liu sing ada apa? Alengai sing mah.
Kamu sedikit ke Bali.
The tourist trade, however, brings both good and ill. Although still a deeply religious society, the industry is making increasing demands on people's time, and temple attendance is decreasing. Some believe that it was the Balineses' spiritual negligence that brought the bombs to their shores.
Bali ini sudah terkenal namanya di luar Pulau Bali, baik kan begitu. Maka dari itu bom itu bisa meletus di Bali. Saya kira-kira ini ada kekurangan.
The Balinese believe that there can be no effect without an underlying cause. And because the tragedy took place on this island, many thought themselves to have been a part of this cause.
Semua komponen, semua pihak itu karena terlena dengan Bali itu aman, akhirnya dia itu lupa dengan koreksi diri sendiri, mungkin jauh dari Tuhan gitu, sehingga Tuhan memberikan peringatan terjadilah bom itu di Bali.
In the midst of an exceptionally God-fearing society lies Kuta, its economic heart and engine. Many believe that the attendant vices of drink, drugs and prostitution have got out of hand, tipping the delicate balance of good and evil that is at the heart of Balinese religious belief.
Dan itu tempatnya adalah di Kuta. Seperti kita ketahui bahwa di Kuta itu sering terjadi tempat kejadian-kejadian yang tidak kita inginkan, seperti perbuatan yang melanggar daripada aturan-aturan ajaran kebenaran daripada agama Hindu.
Kita diingatkan oleh Tuhan, mungkin saja terjadi kesalahan ya, bahwa itu harus diperbaiki. Tuhan mengingatkan kepada kita.
Kalau diambil dua jenis, baik dan buruk, ada keburukan di tempat yang terjadi gitu. Apa menyebabkan buruk? Yang tidak pantas dilaksanakan, ada yang melaksanakan di sana.
For the islanders, the site remains impure and a source of potential problems, both physical and spiritual. The spirits of the dead are thought to still haunt the site, and will continue to do so until blessed and set free. At the bomb site in Kuta, offerings continue to be made. The bomb victims are regarded as having died before their time, and all Balinese feel a deep and sincere sympathy for their plight, and a great responsibility for the welfare of their spirits. Many of those involved with the site remain haunted by dreams and apparitions.
Ya, kejadian magis itu kan banyak. Di saya pernah membuktikan seperti ada poles land, tidak ada angin, bahkan bergerak, berloncat-loncat itu. Saya percaya itu. Saya sebagai orang Bali ya, percaya adanya alam berbeda.
Kemudian ada juga kejadian-kejadian lain ya, tentunya ada suara tangisan, kemudian dering HP yang tidak jelas di mana narasumbernya.
Mungkin kalau malam harinya walaupun ya jam 12 malam itu di sana duduk, walaupun itu sepi, tidak ada api, rasanya rame di sana gitu, kusuk sekali gitu.
Priests had been sent to commune with the spirits of the dead, to coax them to find peace. Yet their souls, it was said, remained restless and distraught. What was needed, they agreed, was one last grand ceremony to finally restore harmony to the island. It is the 15th of November 2002, a month after the blast. A massive purification ceremony is underway at the bomb site in Kuta. This will be the largest religious ceremony in living memory. Its aims are many: to forgive the perpetrators, restore the balance between good and evil, and free the spirits of the dead.
Jadi harapan kita dengan upacara ini, arwah-arwah daripada korban ini bisa diterima di sisi Tuhan dengan baik. Jadi korban pun, ya korban keluarga korban yang ditinggalkan juga ya bisa menerima dengan lapang dada karena ini memang sudah takdir.
The ceremony will entail blood sacrifice, known as mecharu. In all, 79 animals were killed, including bulls, cows, goats, turtles and swans.
Biasanya di dalam caru itu pasti akan ada pembunuhan binatang. Jangan berpikir negatif. Manusia sebagai pelaku upacara ini bertujuan untuk justru sama-sama membantu meningkatkan derajat dari binatang itu dalam samsara nantinya.
On Kuta Beach, the purification ceremony reaches its climax. 7 animals are taken out to sea to be sacrificed to the sea god Baruna.
Maksud daripada sisa caru dibuang ke laut adalah karena laut adalah merupakan tempat yang paling pas, paling tepat untuk mempercepat netral daripada kekuatan-kekuatan jahat. Tujuannya adalah memohon kepada Sang Yang Beruna, semoga apa yang kotor tadi dibuang supaya menjadi netral, supaya menjadi baik kembali.
Through all the events of this ceremony, man has paid his debt to both God and nature. The islanders can now finally put the horrors of the incident behind them. It is August 2003, 10 months after the blast. Paddy's Bar has been rebuilt close to its original site in Kuta, and today the reopening ceremony is taking place. The preceding months have seen hard times on the island. Tourist numbers remain far below normal, with consequent effects on the economy.
Merantai ini namanya, ini bom, ini dulu bom persungguhan. Sekarang ini ada bom pengangguran, kemudian ekonomi terpuruk. Sehingga sekarang ini ya banyak ini warga yang juga nganggur karena di PHK. Dan salah satu contoh ya akibat bom ini ya toko saya sampai sekarang masih tutup.
For years now, Bali has traded on its image, that of a tranquil and peace-loving island, a safe haven removed from the dangers and cares of the wider world. The bombs shattered this image and made all the islanders understand that this was no longer something that they could take for granted. It is also an image that they have tried hard to reinstate.
Baik di tempat-tempat keramaian, di tempat-tempat hiburan, tempat-tempat pembelanjaan, mereka sangat ketat penjagaan khusus masalah local security-nya, pengamanan di wilayah di mana mereka kerja.
I hope that people will be back because nothing happened actually in Bali, nothing wrong.
Tentunya tetap kita waspada, jangan lengah. Namanya teroris itu membuat kita malu. Kapan saja, di mana saja dia bisa laksanakan. Tapi kembali kita tetap berdoa dan waspada terhadap jaringannya maupun antar teroris ini. Yang sampai ya terulang kembali.
Rita, a volunteer counselor at the hospital, has managed to keep her job at a Kuta bar, yet memories of that night still weigh heavily on her mind.
So, okay, it happened. Everybody learned to continue on living. But I'm sure deep down, everyone is traumatized. I was traumatized for months after that. Any loud noise would make me jump. Many people went through this.
Kalau saya pribadi masalah contoh seperti saya tidur, kalau saya ingat pasti susah tidur. Karena trauma di dalam benak saya itu masih terus terjadi. Contohnya saja kita dengar di mana terjadi bom, baik di luar negeri maupun di Indonesia, kita akan ingatnya ke Bali. Bagaimana kita ngelihat api besar, kembali ingat bom Bali.
My sadness comes from feeling how these people feel. I have family. I have children. And also at the same time feeling blessed that it didn't happen to me. But it's a weird feeling because you feel blessed and yet you feel, yeah, I'm blessed, but this person, no, actually, no, I have not really cried everything out, and it's there.
Johan is at peace. 30 feet from the bomb when it exploded, he carries a steel pin in his leg and lost his brother and his job to the blast. He says his brother is with Jesus. He feels no hatred for those who did this and no pity for himself. His brother's funeral took place on their native island of Ambon. It was delayed several months while forensic scientists put together what was left of the body.
Di antara potongan-potongan daging itu katanya ada yang cocok dengan DNA-nya kakak. Jadi itu punya dibungkus di dalam amplop yang kecil, ukuran kecil itu 16 bungkus saja. Entah bagiannya apa, dokter sendiri nggak tahu. Itu sampai saat ini juga mereka orang tua saya, keluarga saya semua merasa nggak kehilangan sama sekali. Sampai saat ini juga mereka masih kadang telepon saya, katanya kakaknya ada di tempat ini, katanya ditemukan gini.
Jadi apa saran, apa pesan masnya terhadap Amroji dan teman-temannya?
Ya, bertobatlah. Aja bertobatlah. Mungkin mereka menganggap bahwa pekerjaan seperti ini bisa membawa mereka ke surga, tapi itu hanyalah mimpi bagi mereka.
It is the 12th of October 2003, the first anniversary of the bombings.
Kata tubuh hari dia pola air supaya segera merapat ke hubungan terbentak.
On the monument at Ground Zero, the names of the victims, from 22 separate countries, have been engraved on the plaque beneath their nation's flags. It is a time to mourn lost friends and loved ones, and also a chance to examine past mistakes for the good of the island's future. For the islanders, the last year has been one of tremendous trial and pressure. They have had to deal with an event that has challenged them both economically and spiritually, a tragedy that forced them to re-examine the very core of their beliefs. Yet with faith, dignity and compassion, they have overcome all that was thrown at them, and in fact should become all the stronger for the experience.
Hopefully it was a wake-up call, and like hopefully it will bring again another sense of like simplicity, gratefulness, and the togetherness that was always here.
Kami melihat dari segi positifnya, ini adalah starting point untuk kita bisa berbuat lebih bagus lagi. Jangan mengulang kesalahan. Tuhan sudah mengingatkan. God remind us, so we have to improve, perbaiki yang salah.
Di dalam keanekaragaman ini, keanekaragaman beda agama, keanekaragaman berbeda bahasa, keanekaragaman berbeda bangsa, saya kira itu tidak harus menjadikan kita untuk saling melenyapkan di antara kita sesama manusia. Dan kita semua adalah ciptaan Tuhan, ya.
Sometimes I feel sad, about the victims up there. But right now, we hope all of them get a good place up there in the event, so that we pray for all of them.